It's time for your daily LSU baseball update with Musso at the box. Now, Matt Musso.
And welcome in to another edition of Musso at the box. Whew. Y'all, this is not, I'll throw out a disclaimer right now. This is not going to be the most pleasant edition of this show. LSU was swept on the road at Tennessee, falling in game number 3, 8-4. They are 3-12 in the Southeastern Conference, and you need a serious look in the mirror, reality check of this program. And that's what we're going to do today. We can talk a little bit about the weekend, and we will, because there were good things. And there were some things that I really liked that Jay Johnson did that put his team on notice. But overall, you were swept on the road. And that's where we'll start with this. The stretch is done, y'all. The stretch is done. You're halfway through Southeastern Conference play, and LSU is 3-12. And we will get into what that means, and it means a lot right now for this team. But we did this a little bit after the Vanderbilt series. We'll do it again right now. Let's go back, shall we? Let's hop in the DeLorean, yeah? Where's Doc Brown? Let's find Doc Brown. We'll hop in the DeLorean. We'll go back to just pre-conference, not even preseason, pre-conference. And we'll look at the stretch that they just went through in that vein. When we said, all right, you start on the road at State, never easy. Duty Noble is a hard place to go play. Like, Mississippi State can be as down on their luck as humanly possible, but they always have talent. It's Mississippi State. It is a great program, but they're down on their luck. Going into that, we thought, okay, you can get that one. We were wrong. That is a better team than we thought. They're not great. Mississippi State's not going to Omaha, but they're better than we thought, and you lost. All right, that's a bummer. But going into this stretch, into this 5-series stretch, that let me say right now, without any doubt, it is one of the toughest stretches that I've ever seen in this conference. Like, y'all, Kentucky's got what? One loss in SEC play right now? 1, 2 losses? Yeah, that was a super regional team from last year. They're doing well. They have not played Florida, Vanderbilt, or Tennessee, and all 3 of those teams are in their division. LSU's played all 3 of them. Like, understand how hard that stretch just was. Okay, now that that's out on the table, let's talk about how it went. And that's a much deeper issue. Much deeper issue. So, looking at this stretch, remember, we're in the DeLorean. We're back in pre-conference, and we're looking at the stretch and saying, okay, we think you can get the series against Mississippi State. You didn't. That's a bummer. But the real stretch you looked at was at home versus Florida, on the road at Arkansas, at home versus Vanderbilt, on the road at Tennessee. And I was damn consistent. You can go back and find it. I was damn consistent saying, split. Win your home series. You're probably not going to win the series on the road. And if you do that while thinking, okay, they're probably going to get that State series, you would have come out of that 8-7, 7-8, somewhere in there with that State series being the swing, right? You're 3-12. You lost on the road at State. Hell, you lost all 5 of them, and you got swept twice. You're 3-12. That is an absolute disaster of that stretch. It just is. And we can sit here and talk all we want about how close they are and they're right there. They're a pitch here or a hit there away from being, whatever you want. Sure, you could have won that Florida series if you block up a strike 3 and throw down and get the out, you win that series. Absolutely. You look at Vanderbilt. If you don't have to burn Herring in game 1, you win that series. And even if you go deeper into game 2 of that series, you can find something where you say, yeah, they win. Arkansas, you lost in extras in game 2 with your ace on the mound. That's very easily won. We can sit there, we can look at it, we can dissect it, we can go through this situation, that situation, pitch by pitch, whatever, and say they're right there. But the fact is, yeah, they're right there, but in actuality, they're not. They're a bad baseball team. That's what you are. It's not to say you can't get better, and they will. Like, y'all, I'll reiterate what we said after the Vanderbilt series. At some point, LSU is going to play their best baseball. They're going to get hot. They're going to make a run. The problem is you have to ask the question now, is it too late? And right now, this day, this time, in mid-April, the answer is yes, it's going to be too late. Do you realize at 3-12, at the halfway point of the SEC season, LSU would not be in Hoover? That's where you are. There's no sugarcoating that. Y'all know I come here and I try to give you the honest commentary and then do my best to inject some type of positivity because it's baseball and anything can happen. But right now, at this point, they're not in the SEC tournament. 2 teams missed the tournament, and they're one of those 2 teams right now. Jay Johnson is not a good coach. Jay Johnson is a great coach. And this year doesn't change that. But man, that's unacceptable. It just is. At any point in your tenure to potentially miss the SEC tournament. And look, y'all, Paul Maneri missed an SEC tournament, and he owned that damn thing more than anyone who's ever come through here. But when you're talking about the expectation and the standard at this program, making Hoover isn't even the basement. That's not even part of the discussion. That's just understood that you go there. And let me be clear. I think LSU's going to Hoover. They're going to win series down the stretch, and they're going to get there. But the fact that at the halfway point right now, you're out is wow. I've had a lot of people ask me in the comment section, in person, on Twitter, wherever, throughout this entire stretch that LSU's been on right now, you keep saying they have the talent. Do they? And my answer to that is always, yeah. Turn on the draft in July and tell me they didn't have the talent. You want to go down the list? Holman's getting drafted. Jump's getting drafted. It may be hard for a lot of you to believe, but Thatcher Hurd's getting drafted. Axe getting drafted. Jones is getting drafted. Paxton Kling has a shot because of the potential to get drafted. Like, someone's going to take a flyer on Mac Bingham. Yo, we're up to 8 right there. We're up to 8 right there. I didn't even mention Tommy White. He's going to go in the first 7 picks. Like, yeah, they got the talent. They're not a good team. They're a bad team. Take that for whatever you want to take it as. They are a bad team. That's what they are right now. And again, I'll reiterate it. They will play their best ball at one point this season. But the question is, will it be too late? And my answer to you is yes. Yes, it will. It will be too late. Like right now, they're not even into Hoover. How can I predict them to make the the NCAA tournament? Excuse me, the NCAA tournament. How can I confidently sit here and tell you, yeah, they can get there? Because right now, no, they can't. They're bad. Like, they're bad. Yes, they're close. Very close. But they can't get over the hump. That tells me you're bad. Like in 5 weeks, if you can't right that wrong and figure out a way to win one, you're bad. You just are. I mean, they will have better days, and they will have better days this season. But right now, they're really bad. So how do they not be bad? I don't have a great answer for you from a technical standpoint, because it just has to come together for them. Like, they've had moments, y'all, where they've been awesome on the mound. This weekend is one of them. Like, y'all, that Tennessee team is a juggernaut offensively. And you held them down for the most part. We went through all of it in the preview of how great, how record-setting that Tennessee offense is. You never allowed double digits. You were in every game. Like, it never felt like it got away from you. You got the pitching performance you needed. What you didn't get was the offense and defense performance that you needed. It's the same thing last week against Vanderbilt, where you got the offensive performance that you needed, but you never got the pitching performance that you needed. It has not come together for them. They're not playing complementary baseball. And in that whole thing we just talked about, we didn't even mention the defensive miscues. They're playing tug of war with themselves. That never works, right? Eventually, one side gets pulled into the mud. It's where Skip's whole hold the rope mantra comes from. You know, you're looking for someone to pull you up. They're pulling on both ends of the rope. It's rough, and it's never a place that this program should be, and it's a place that this program hasn't been in more than a decade. 2011. 2011 is the last time that LSU missed both the SEC and NCAA tournaments. You're knocking on the door of that. Now, you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity down the stretch here. The schedule lightens. But, I mean, how confident are all of you listening right now that LSU is going to go on the road to Columbia, Missouri, and take 2 of 3 from Missouri? It's okay. You can say it out loud. I'm not that confident either. LSU is way more talented than Missouri. I'll tell you right now, I think Jay Johnson's a better coach than Carrick Jackson. But, like, are you confident? No, you're not. Because right when they're there, they seem to grasp defeat from the jaws of victory. They seem to be waiting for the net. We've said this before. They seem to be waiting for the next shoe to drop and for something to go wrong and them to lose a baseball game. And that is the mark of a bad team. It just is. It sucks to say. It sucks to say. Especially knowing how talented they are throughout the roster. But that's where they are right now. Like, that is where they are right now. The sample size is large enough. You can't deny that. You cannot deny that. Where they've been on the doorstep time and time again right there and have not They have not pulled the brass ring down. It's not to say it's going to be like that forever, because it's not. Like I said earlier, I have full confidence in this staff. But this is bad. There is no other way to put it at this point. Not to say it can't get better, but right now, this is bad. This has been a total disaster. One way or another, like it or not, that's where you are. I mentioned there were a couple things that I liked. And I'll tell you this one thing. So, I'm going to start with the pitching staff because we spent a lot of the week talking about that. And y'all, Jay Johnson made a statement in game number 3. Like, you go Nate Ackenhausen to start, and it turned out to be a really, really strong move by Jay to do that. Nate pitched well, really well. Gave you 4 innings, 2 runs, didn't walk anybody, struck out 2, kept you in the ballgame. The home run was disappointing, but that was also the first time this entire weekend that Tennessee's ballpark played small. It was a pop fly from Christian Moore that carried out of the park. That sucks, but that's what happened. The statement was, think of who you have left at that point. After Ack. Guidry, Anderson, Lure, Ulloa. Like, go down the list. You got a lot of guys. He went Aiden Moffitt, Cam Johnson. He went to the 2 young arms before going to the guy who got the last outs in the College World Series. Y'all, that's a statement. That is a message being sent to those guys. Jay might not ever say that, but that's a message being sent. Said, oh, they shut this lineup down on Friday night. Maybe they can do it again. And by the way, Aiden Moffitt was great. Like, yeah, he gave up the run, whatever. But he didn't walk anybody. He struck out 2. Got you through 1 inning dominantly. Gave up the run in his second when he went back out there. But that's a huge step. Like this weekend for Aiden Moffitt, massive step in the right direction. Cam Johnson, same thing. You can look at the line, see 2/3, 2 runs given up. Not great. He walked a guy, didn't strike anybody, fine. But when you add in his outing on Friday night, big step in the right direction for that young man. And that's a huge positive. And ultimately, those 2 guys are a reason that LSU will play their best baseball going forward this season. Like, ultimately, those 2 guys are part of why LSU will ultimately make the SEC tournament. But you go to Guidry after that, and he battled hard, got some key strikeouts, kept you in the ball game. You go to Anderson after that, pitched an inning, gave up 2. It's just been a struggle for him in the SEC, and that's unfortunate, but he's got a bright future. He's great. Like, he's going to be great at LSU. And then Micah Bucknam late in the game, got you the out, whatever. I liked the response you saw from LSU in game 3. That is a positive. It is. LSU has been bad in game 3s. They've now lost their last 6, mind you. But they never quit today. And that's like that, again, ultimately, that is why at some point this team will play their best baseball and they will make a run. The problem is, will it be too late? But that's where you can look at it and be like, oh, they're so close. They're right there. And be like, okay, yeah. Right? And that's what you saw Sunday in that game 3. They played hard. It'd have been real easy after the 7th inning when you were down at that point what, 6-2 to phone it in. But LSU responded immediately in the 8th with a 2 spot. That's huge. Like, you look at the box score from Sunday, you see Tennessee 2 in the bottom of the 3rd to take a 2-0 lead. LSU, bam, cuts the lead in half in the 4th. The very next inning, 2-1. Tie it in the 6th. Tennessee, the next 2 innings, scores 1 and 3, makes it 6-2. LSU, bam, in the 8th. Gets 2 more. Like, that's huge. But you kept giving up runs, and that's the thing. But I loved the statement that Jay Johnson made by going to the young arms before a proven guy, saying, yeah, you haven't been good enough. Like, that's him saying that. And again, he might not ever say that in public. Maybe he will. I don't know. Conventional wisdom would say he won't. But actions speak louder than words, y'all. That's him saying, hey, these guys had success against that lineup. We're going to go right back to them. That's a good thing. That's what good coaches do. You feed the hot hand. Didn't work out today. All right. There were positives this weekend. The pitching staff took a step. If I were LSU, I would continue to go with this approach because this is what we thought your team would be. And by this approach, I mean carry all the pitchers that you can and find the offense along the way. Force the issue, do the hit and runs. They had a great hit and run in this ball game where Milam singled through the to right field. I mean, it was a perfect hit and run. Continue to do that. Find the offense where you can, but lean on your pitching. That's where you felt your strength was coming into this year. Continue to do that. Carry as many pitchers as you can without sacrificing too much offense and see if you can win games that way. Because I come away nothing but impressed with Sam Dutton, Cam Johnson, and Aiden Moffitt from this weekend. And you know what? That was a great outing from Nate Ackenhausen, too. Yeah, he gave up the homer, whatever. That was a pop fly in a lot of places in this league, not in Knoxville, Tennessee. So I come away very impressed with him this weekend as well. Lean on your staff. Lean on the pitching staff. Find the offense where you can. It's not going to be a pretty style of baseball, but I do believe it is your best chance at finding your way to Hoover and also finding your way to the NCAA tournament. It's who they are this year. They're a team that's not great, and that's going to have to battle, scratch, and claw. Doesn't mean you give up on them. Means you just watch a little closer. You know we'll have you covered right here on Musso at the Box, wall to wall, thick or thin. It's what we do. Y'all smash the like button, get subscribed, all those good things. It's greatly appreciated. And be with me next time here on Musso at the Box.